Welcome back to Demolition Worker. Today we dive deep into the ocean to witness the removal of giant oil rig jackets. Beneath the calm surface of the sea lies a massive network of steel structures anchoring the drilling platforms to the ocean floor. These massive steel legs have stood against powerful ocean currents for decades, but their operational lifespan has finally come to an end. Removing these colossal structures requires extreme precision and advanced technology to ensure the delicate marine ecosystem remains completely undisturbed during the process. We are joining a highly skilled team of professional deep-sea divers and advanced remote-operated vehicles for this challenging mission. As our cameras descend below the waves, the bright sunlight quickly fades into a mysterious and murky world of the deep ocean. Down here in the absolute darkness, the immense scale of the underwater steel jackets becomes truly apparent to our deep-sea team. The steel pillars are heavily encrusted with thick layers of barnacles and vibrant marine life after spending many years submerged in water. Navigating through this dense underwater forest of metal requires highly trained operators who control the advanced robotic vehicles from the surface vessel. The remote-operated vehicles switch on their powerful floodlights, piercing through the dark water to reveal the massive foundation of the rig. Every single movement must be carefully calculated because the immense water pressure at this depth makes any simple mistake incredibly dangerous today. Professional divers in specialized atmospheric suits are deployed from the surface ship to assist the robotic vehicles with delicate manual preparation tasks. These brave underwater workers face freezing temperatures and zero visibility as they slowly approach the giant steel legs resting on the seabed. The first major challenge is clearing away the thick biological growth from the specific areas where the heavy cutting equipment will operate. High-pressure water jets are carefully utilized to blast away the stubborn barnacles, exposing the bare steel surface of the massive pillars. Once the steel is completely exposed, the engineering team can accurately measure the thickness of the metal to determine the cutting strategy. For these incredibly thick structural supports, standard cutting methods simply will not work efficiently in this extreme and unforgiving deep-sea environment. The team deploys specialized abrasive water jet cutting systems, which use a mixture of high-pressure water and sharp sand to slice. This incredible technology can slice through several inches of solid steel without generating any heat or dangerous sparks in the marine environment. The robotic arms carefully position the cutting nozzle against the thick steel pipe, locking it firmly into place with powerful hydraulic clamps. From the control room on the surface ship, operators initiate the cutting sequence and monitor the progress through high-definition underwater cameras. Powerful stream of abrasive material blasts out of the tiny nozzle at supersonic speeds, slowly eating away at the solid metal. The cutting process is meticulously slow but incredibly precise, leaving a perfectly smooth edge along the massive circumference of the steel pillar. A cloud of fine debris is instantly swept away by the strong underwater currents as the jet continues its relentless circular path. The robotic vehicles constantly adjust the cutting angle to ensure the heavy steel structure does not collapse prematurely during the cutting operation. Multiple robotic units work simultaneously on different legs of the platform to maintain perfect structural balance and prevent any unexpected catastrophic failures. The coordination required between the surface engineers and the underwater robots is a true masterpiece of modern industrial engineering and marine technology. As the first massive steel leg is completely severed, the massive crane on the surface vessel takes up the enormous structural weight. Now the team must move deeper to tackle the primary foundation piles that are driven hundreds of feet directly into the seabed. These deep foundation piles are incredibly thick and require a completely different approach to be safely detached from the ocean floor today. The engineering team decides to utilize highly specialized shaped explosive charges to cleanly sever these massive steel anchors deep underwater right now. Using explosives underwater is an incredibly delicate operation that requires absolute precision to avoid harming the fragile marine ecosystem surrounding the rig. The shaped charges are specifically designed to direct all their explosive energy inward, slicing through the steel while minimizing the outward shock wave. Professional divers carefully lower the circular explosive rings down the exterior of the massive steel pipes, ensuring a perfectly tight fit everywhere. Every single wire and detonator is double-checked by the underwater team to guarantee a flawless execution of the upcoming explosive sequence. The divers retreat to a safe distance inside their specialized diving bells, while the robotic vehicles remain to monitor the final preparations. A specialized acoustic deterrent system is activated to gently encourage any nearby marine wildlife to leave the immediate blast zone for safety. Protecting the ocean environment is the absolute highest priority for the entire demolition crew during every single phase of this complex operation. The countdown begins in the surface control room, as every crew member watches the underwater camera feeds with intense focus and anticipation. 3, 2, 1, fire! A sudden flash of brilliant light briefly illuminates the dark ocean depths as the shape charges finally detonate. The highly concentrated explosive force instantly slices through the thick, solid steel foundation like a hot knife cutting smoothly through soft butter. A massive cloud of bubbles and displaced sand rapidly expands outward, temporarily obscuring the camera lenses of the nearby remote-operated vehicles. The muffled sound of the underwater explosion reaches the surface vessel, a few seconds later, vibrating through the heavy steel deck plates. As the underwater debris cloud slowly begins to settle, the robotic vehicles move closer to inspect the results of the precision blast. The high-definition cameras reveal a perfectly clean cut across the massive steel pillar, proving the shape charges worked exactly as planned. With the primary foundation piles successfully severed, the enormous steel jacket is finally completely detached from the bottom of the deep ocean. The most dangerous phase of the operation is now complete, but lifting this colossal structure to the surface remains a monumental challenge. The heavy lifting vessel, positioned directly above the rig, engages its massive hydraulic winches to slowly raise the gigantic underwater steel frame. Thick steel cables pull perfectly taut as they take on the tremendous weight of the thousands of tons of submerged metal structure. The entire ocean surface seems to boil as the massive steel jacket slowly begins its long journey upward from the dark depths. Robotic vehicles carefully monitor the lifting process from below, ensuring the swinging structure does not strike any remaining underwater pipelines or equipment. The immense strain on the lifting cables is constantly monitored by advanced computer systems to prevent any catastrophic snapping under extreme tension. Slowly but surely, the ghostly outline of the massive steel structure begins to emerge from the dark and murky depths below us. The sheer scale of the jacket becomes truly terrifying as it gets closer to the surface, dwarfing the robotic vehicles swimming alongside. Schools of curious fish swim quickly around the rising metal giant, seemingly confused by the sudden movement of their longtime home. The surface crew works tirelessly to secure the massive lifting chains, ensuring the heavy load remains perfectly balanced during the difficult ascent. The first sections of the steel jacket finally break the surface of the water, creating massive waves that crash against the ship. Water pours rapidly out of the hollow steel pipes like massive waterfalls as the gigantic structure is lifted completely into the air. The heavy lifting crane smoothly swings the colossal steel frame over to a massive transport barge waiting patiently nearby in the water. Gently lowering thousands of tons of wet steel onto a floating barge requires incredible skill from the highly experienced heavy crane operator. The structure groans loudly as it finally comes to rest on the solid wooden deck of the massive industrial transport barge today. With the first massive jacket successfully recovered, the underwater demolition team immediately begins preparing for the next challenging phase of the project. There are still several more massive steel structures resting on the ocean floor that must be safely removed before the project concludes. Robotic vehicles dive back down into the dark abyss, their powerful lights piercing the gloom as they search for new targets. This continuous cycle of precise cutting and heavy lifting will continue around the clock until the entire oil field is completely cleared. The environmental monitoring team conducts thorough inspections of the seabed to ensure no toxic materials were accidentally released during the demolition process. They carefully analyze water samples and observe the surrounding marine life, confirming that the fragile ecosystem remains completely unharmed by our activities. Removing these massive artificial structures actually helps restore the natural ocean environment to its original state before the drilling platforms were built. The recovered steel jackets will be transported back to a specialized recycling facility on land to be melted down and repurposed completely. Thousands of tons of high-quality steel will be given a second life in new construction projects around the world very soon. This incredible recycling process significantly reduces the environmental impact of the oil and gas industry while supporting sustainable development for our future. The dedication and extreme skill of these underwater demolition experts are truly remarkable to witness in such a harsh and unforgiving environment. They routinely risk their lives in freezing temperatures and crushing pressures to safely dismantle the massive industrial relics of our modern world. The advanced robotic technology they utilize has revolutionized the entire demolition industry, making these incredibly complex underwater operations much safer and faster. Without these highly capable remote vehicles, removing these massive deep-sea structures would be nearly impossible and incredibly dangerous for human divers. As the sun begins to set over the vast ocean, the massive transport barge is finally fully loaded with the recovered steel. Powerful tugboats attach their heavy towing lines to the loaded barge, preparing for the long and slow journey back to the port. The successful removal of these giant underwater structures marks a significant milestone in the ongoing effort to clean up our beautiful oceans. The demolition crew takes a well-deserved moment to celebrate their incredible success after many long days of exhausting and dangerous labor. Their meticulous planning and flawless execution have ensured that this massive underwater demolition project was completed without a single accident or injury. The ocean floor is now completely free of the massive steel pillars that have dominated this underwater landscape for many long decades. Marine life will soon return to reclaim this area, restoring the natural balance of the incredibly diverse and beautiful deep-sea ecosystem. The fascinating world of underwater demolition combines heavy industrial engineering with a profound respect for the delicate nature of our marine environments. It is a constant battle against extreme pressure, zero visibility, and unpredictable ocean currents to safely complete these monumental deep-sea tasks. We have witnessed the incredible power of explosive-shaped charges and abrasive water jets slicing through solid steel in the dark depths. The sight of those colossal steel jackets being lifted from the ocean floor is an image that will not be easily forgotten. This incredibly complex operation proves that human ingenuity can overcome even the most daunting challenges in the harshest environments on our planet. Thank you for joining us on this thrilling journey into the dark depths of the ocean to witness this massive demolition project. We hope you enjoyed this deep dive into the fascinating and dangerous world of professional underwater demolition and heavy marine salvage operations. Please subscribe to Demolition Worker for more videos of extreme engineering and massive destruction. We will see you in the next episode.